I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up. Bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me.
Welcome to Millionaire Before 30, where we are on a mission.
Bro, we are on a mission, and we are giving you guys the blueprint, the exact blueprint of how to become a millionaire before 30 years old. I'm Ryan Zolin.
I am Brent Daniels, Mr. Talk to People, and of course we have over here Albert in the hot seat over there, and we've got Taylor Bisecki. Taylor is here. Taylor started her wholesaling business 90 days ago or so.
Yep.
Joined Lauren Hardy's virtual wholesaling course, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
She is the best. And this show right here, the reason I wanted to do this show today, and that we talked about this, Ryan, that we collaborated on this, is, I've been interviewing a lot of people that are now being successful in their real estate business, and I'm like, how did you find out about wholesaling real estate?
Right.
How did you find out about being a real estate investor? And a lot of people are just Googling how to make $1 million or how to work from home or home businesses or somewhere along that vein. And I think that it's really interesting to get into it and answer some of these questions that we have as we're getting started, because a lot of the terminology, a lot of the processes, a lot of the tools, a lot of the resources are foreign. It's different. It feels like I'm not really sure how to use this. I'm not really sure what to do. So I want over the next 90 minutes to answer as many questions that we can. But we have Taylor here, who you've been in it 90 days. You've got some questions. I mean, there's some questions that bubble up over those 90 days that I want to get into. But I want to, with this show, give people the confidence that they can go out there and make a difference in their community, that they can absolutely, anybody can start this business. It just depends on how much courage you have. Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Anybody could do this.
Right.
I mean, dude, if I'm 23, going on year 6, but still, I started this at 18.
Right.
What people don't realize is they don't have the confidence to jump into this. They don't realize oh man, it's all the limiting beliefs, right?
Sure.
It's not believing in yourself and understanding that this is the life-changing industry that you could go in and make $1 million. I've seen people do it in 12 months.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's a statistic that says 3 to 5 year mark is typically when you're going to make that $1 million mark.
Yep.
As long as you're consistently doing the right steps.
Yep.
So
I think it's 7.
7?
Yeah, I tell everybody that's to net it, to be a millionaire, to actually get there consistently in this business after taxes.
After taxes.
Which is important.
That's a big one.
Okay, is I think 7 years of building it up. Now, obviously, people do it faster.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
Obviously, people lie about doing it faster.
Right. And I like the 7-year mark. I think that's a good. What industry can you go in where it's a 9 to 5 and you're gonna make 7 years $1 million?
People go to college to be a doctor, to come out to make $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year, cap out at $400,000, $500,000 a year as a doctor.
Right.
And they go to school. They go to school for the rest of their life. Let's be honest. But we can do this. Just having fun, going out and building businesses with our friends. It's incredible. It's the absolute best. So, Taylor, you're in San Francisco. You're doing business in Tennessee.
That's correct.
Right?
Yep.
Why Tennessee?
I went through Lauren's program and kind of had a bunch of parameters of where, what would be good markets, and kind of narrowed it down that way, and that's why I chose in that market.
Awesome. And what is? Tell us about the Tennessee market. Tell us about doing this virtually. You're calling, you're texting. What are you doing? How are you generating leads? Because that's the first start.
Yeah.
This business, I don't care if it's wholesaling or real estate investing, it's 3 parts.
Yep.
Lead generation, conversion, and exit strategy. So for your lead generation, what does that look like? And how do you do that I don't even know how far. 1,000 miles away, 2,000 miles. I don't know how far away it is in the market that you're doing it, but
yeah. Well, obviously I'm still new and I'm figuring it all out.
Sure.
But a part of Lauren's course, we do texting, we do text blasting.
Love it.
But what I do is something. As soon as I get at least like some sort of interest or a response, I immediately pick up the phone and call the person because I think it's most important to get them on the phone and have a quality conversation rather than, some sellers will want to continue texting you and texting you, but you're not going to build the same rapport when you're texting them instead of when you pick up the phone and call them. 100%. And that way you can definitely develop a relationship and hopefully set yourself apart from probably the 5 other people that texted them that day.
Yes. Right.
So I think that's important, and at least getting the response and then going from there.
Awesome.
Okay. So is this like texting? Is this cold? Like what exactly?
So I'll shoot out texts and text blast at first.
Is there like a specific list you're targeting or okay?
Yeah, again, I use Lauren's course, but I also watch, and just our last show on Monday, you guys talked about the top 5 lists to pull. So those are awesome lists. I've pulled those before.
Awesome.
I'm gonna try some of the one of the ones was like the retiree or whatever Jamil was talking about. That's an interesting one. I haven't tried that one yet.
Yeah.
Right.
But the vacant lists, the absentee owners, the tired landlords, those are all great lists. And I'm still new, and I'm sure I can relate to everybody and a lot of people watching right now. Like, you're texting a lot of people.
Yeah.
You are calling a lot of people, and it can get discouraging.
Sure.
It can get discouraging.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to work on my first deal. I got my first contract, but to have a supportive community like this is the most important, and to know that like you're gonna get there. Just keep at it.
Awesome. What were you doing before? Currently, are you doing?
I'm currently a local news reporter out in San Francisco.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
So she's
Holy
pretty
cow.
nervous right now, Brent.
Yeah. This is really weird for me. I don't like being in front of cameras.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, this is awesome.
But please don't test my interview skills or my response skills right now because I didn't know I was going to be on this show.
Right.
Well, that is awesome. So you're full time, and then you're doing your wholesaling business on the side.
That's correct. Yep.
Wow. How do you carve that out? How do you do that?
Well,
because there's a lot of people watching that are full time, and they're like, I need to fit this in, but it's tough, and my life is kind of like things get thrown at me, and it's not like you just have a perfect schedule where there's no distractions. How does that happen?
Well, I think the most important thing too is, in the beginning, definitely it's easy to give yourself excuses, but the most important thing is that you time block and make time. If you want that change, make time for it. So I am a little lucky though. I'm on the West Coast, so my schedule is 3 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay.
So I work evenings, so I get up early, even though I go to bed late. I get up early, and I text for I get up. Maybe I start at 7:38, and I'll text and call until 12:45. So 4.5, whatever. Math, don't check me on that right now. But 4.5 hours, 4 hours in the mornings before I go to work, and then I'll do my workout, and then I'll shower and get ready for work, and do it all over the next day. And it can get tiring, but it's for what you want, the end goal.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the thing. How do you not get burnt out? How do you keep your energy high and your enthusiasm high and your optimism high? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a fist fight. Lead generation is a fist fight. We have to go through a lot of rejection. We have to go through a lot of uncomfortable conversations sometimes.
Right.
And then you have to like switch gears and be a news reporter, right? Right?
Yeah. Well, the two are similar in a sense, just because I'm used to kind of calling people sometimes, or knocking on people's doors as a reporter, and sometimes I get a door slammed in my face. So same thing when I get cursed out sometimes on the phone. It happens, people, but don't let that get to your head. Like, you're in there for a purpose, and you're going to end up helping someone, so don't let that get to your head.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get to your questions here, but I want to invite everybody watching. I don't care if you're on Instagram. How's that looking today? Is it looking better? Did we get that figured out?
It's viewable.
It's viewable? Okay, it's viewable today, guys. We're working on that. Thank you for your patience on Instagram and on the YouTube channel. Guys, put in your comments. Put in your questions. Any questions there, even if you feel like it's silly, make sure that you put them in here. That's what we want to answer these questions. I don't want there to be an excuse for you not to take action in this business. If you're watching this, there's something inside your brain that has crawled in there and is like, this business is incredible, but there still might be some hesitation. There still might be some of that, oh, wait a second, is this real? Are people really making it? Is it, can I do this? All those questions. So make sure that you put it in the comments, right?
Absolutely.
How's your deals this week?
We bought one last night.
Yep.
Albert got another one before the show.
From the MLS?
MLS,
okay.
of course.
Yeah.
What was the information on that one? What's the deets? ARV and everything.
ARV, I believe we're in the high 5s, touching the 6,
okay.
and we're in the low 4s.
Ooh.
Plus commission.
What city?
Plus commission. Mesa.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll fly.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So, let me ask you a question here, Ryan.
Hit me.
Okay. So, you're starting out. You've never done a wholesale deal before.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
When it comes to assigning that deal.
Yep.
Do you know what's happening? Do you know what's going on? Do you have some guidance?
Yeah,
like that seems like the big mysteries. People can go, oh, okay, I understand. There's ugly houses.
Right.
And if I talk to the property owner and I can put it under contract with this contract that I got online, and that's a little scary as it is.
Right.
But then I got to go talk to these cash buyers and assign the deal and hope they pay me.
Yep.
And how does that happen? Like, what was your process there when you were starting?
So this is something that was taught to me by Temp, and it's a big thing that like
Templeton Walker, shout out. What's up, Temp?
I love this process. Attach your boat to a bigger boat.
Okay.
So that is step number one. Obviously, once you get the deal, you've already had the backing of a buyer. You have an actual contract. What do I do now? I mean, there's like this like big like fear, and like you said, the whole contract thing. Dude, that was like a limiting belief of mine from really my like first 2.5, 3 years.
Sure.
And then I got to the point where I'm like, that's not my strong suit. It's that book, Who Not How.
Yep.
So then I was able to be like, I need a transaction coordinator. I need somebody that can handle paperwork. That is not my cup of tea. So then from there, what I was able to understand was once I attach my boat to a bigger boat, I'm able to basically just R&D, rip off and duplicate. I can have them basically bring a buyer to the table, and in lieu of me bringing them the deal, they're going to show me the entire process.
Yeah.
They're going to CC you on all the emails. They're going to show you how to fill out that assignment contract. And more importantly, you close the deal. Because obviously, if you have the limiting beliefs, you've never done a deal, you have all these contracts and paperwork, and you're like very overwhelmed with the legalities behind them, you may not even take the action of finding a buyer because you're so caught up in the first step of what is a signor and a signee.
Yeah.
So
love it.
Attach your boat to a bigger boat.
Got it. And that's what you did.
That's exactly what I did. And I actually took the Keegley model too. I found a disposition wholesaler in my first few deals. They were able to blast it out to a buyer's list, and then from there I was able to get a buyer.
Well, not as it's going to be a shameless plug, but that's coaching.
Absolutely.
When you hire a coach, when you invest in a coaching program, you attach your boat to a bigger boat.
That's all this is.
I mean,
name of the game.
That's what I do all day. You know what I mean? It is, and it's special, and it's exciting, and it's wonderfully rewarding seeing people take action and being able to get my hands into it a little bit, whether it be comping it or just answering some questions and kind of smoothing out the edges of the transaction. But that's what it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've always had a coach.
Well,
always,
I mean, the only way you learn, in my opinion, is by doing. There's only a certain point where you can do all the analytical data and you could have all the research, everything all done, buttoned up. But the actual process of going through and doing it is completely different. It's like when you go to school. Like, actually doing it in real estate school and going through the school, then coming out and doing a deal, you don't do anything that you learned in the school.
Right.
So,
Taylor, what's up? What do you got? Hit us with it.
All right. Well, I'm sure a lot of people too. We started about when you're trying to get your first deal. It can get overwhelming. It can get discouraging. So, what do you guys think? How many? I know that sometimes both of you guys do it differently, but how many texts, how many calls should you be making each day? And typically, what does that conversion look like to get that first deal?
Love it. So texting is 500 texts. Because I asked this on yesterday's show, 500 texts to get a lead, right? And then there's a bunch of lead follow-up. It's usually about 10,000 texts, right? So that's 20 leads to get a deal, right? But it takes time. That's what you're going through right now. You're going through that initial. You're going up that hill, right?
Right.
And this is just the first little part of this mountain, but you're going up this hill the first 90 days. That 90-day survival is critical, right? All the mindset stuff starts getting established in this 90 days that you're going through, because you're like, man, I'm doing a lot of work. I'm talking to a lot of people. It doesn't seem like anybody's motivated. Whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
But you will find it. It's a numbers game. It has to be. There's too many distressed property owners out there. So what I'll say is 200 conversations that you have, if it's a cold call, if you're just picking up the phone and calling it, as long as it's a distressed property list, and 200 conversations per deal. And usually that takes about 20 hours of cold calling. But the lag time is 90 days. and doing the lead follow-up and having the courage to do the lead follow-up. Because when we start, we're okay, like, oh, I'm going to throw myself into this. I know I'm going to get rejected. I know I'm going to have to talk to a lot of people. And then you get a lead, and then you're like, oh, I don't want this lead to tell me no. Oh, it's going to be so heartbreaking. It's like you're on a dating app, and and you set up a date with somebody, and you're like, wow, this is exciting. And then you're worried about them not showing up, so you don't show up. You know, something like that. You know what I mean? So you're just not showing up to the date because you think that, you know, something's going to go sideways, or you're putting negativity into your mind, and you're hallucinating a negative outcome. So I always think that, you know, it's really important that in your car you're listening to great podcasts, at home you're reading great books, you're surrounding yourself with really good content and really good people doing this business, and that really helps out.
Absolutely. Mine's a little bit different. It's obviously we're targeting MLS deals primarily, and then a lot of agent outreach. I would say a lot of what we do, it comes down to, actually Brent and I were talking about this the other day, but it's going to be a minimum set amount of people to talk to realtor-wise, rather than setting a, hey, I'm going to hit this number and then I'm done for the day. A lot of times people will set a limit, or a, hey, I'm going to hit 30 calls. Once I hit that 30 calls, doesn't matter how many people answered. Once I hit that, my day's done. I feel like I'm complete. The minimum people you should be talking to, in my opinion, per day is 50. I think if you're talking to 50 realtors a day, you're going to come across it. It's going to come out to, what is it math-wise, 250 a week? I mean, I always tell people you need 300 agents to get 1 to 3 deals. 300 agents is 1 to 3 deals, and that is going to bring in income. And that is free income, because those are relationships with realtors that are working on your behalf through an agency or a referral base, where they're going to get part of the wholesale fee. And they're going to be bringing you opportunities that you don't have to pay for. All you have to do is comp them. And if you have a bigger boat to attach to, they'll tell you what you need to buy it at. You bring that to the realtor. I have guys right now that are sending me deals that actually happened last night. They sent me a deal. They're like, hey, what do you think this is at? And I'm like, well, actually, let me check with another guy with just another opinion. And at this point, we have the actual buying power, and we're going to be fixing and flipping a lot more houses this year. But we are able to go to another person to get another opinion. You could do the same thing when you get realtors sending you deals. Go to someone in your market and say, like, hey, what would you pay for this? Then you're in the middle. You're able to connect the pieces, and you make the difference. So.
And just a follow-up to that, too, because, you know, I've been shadowing you the last couple of days and stuff. And a lot of times, you know, I started making some calls to some agents, and they would be sending me stuff that isn't in the best condition, but of course the sellers or the realtors are marking it at after repair value, and it's nowhere near that. So how do you kind of have those conversations and in a nice way kind of coach those agents of what you're looking for and keep, you know, building that relationship?
You were on the right track right at the end there. So it's 2 parts. Number 1, it's patience. It's understanding that just like when you're talking direct to seller, you've got to remember that when you're going direct to seller, you're going for the no. You're that much closer to that next opportunity every single no that you get. The other part of this is education. So you said coaching. A lot of this is setting expectations properly, because you got to remember, you said that they're listing their property at retail value. What do I always say? The hardest part of being a realtor is finding a client, right? So for them, when they go and the client's like, Sally's over there, like, well, I know the house 2 doors down is 1,000 square feet bigger, has marble floors and a pool and a basement. Mine needs $75,000 of rehab, but let me tell you why mine's better. So they don't know how to set expectations properly, because they're going for the client. So you go and you could tell them, like, hey, I want you to understand, I have to put this much in down payment. I have to put this much in hard money costs every month. My estimated profit is going to be X amount. You have to break down the numbers for them, lead them down the path. They go to the client. At that point, the only other option they're going to come back and say no to, you come back and say, okay, well, look, I see it's been sitting on the market for 15 days. Let me ask you something. If it sits for another 30 to 45 days, is your bottom number still X? Probably not. Setting expectations and being patient and coaching them, that's all this is. So if you could just change your mindset with that and understand that you have to hold their hand, walk them down here, and be patient along the way, you'll start to see the conversion rate go up, obviously. But.
Yeah, I think also there is magic in being the save the day gal, right? So what I'm talking about is they're about to close a deal, buyer backs out, you're staying in contact with this agent, and you're like, hey, is anything getting wiggly with this transaction? Is anything slipping? Is everything good? Love to come in. Let me know. No big deal. Hope you close it. Want you to close it. Want you to, you know, get this thing done and move on. But if it doesn't, let me know. and then all of a sudden something slips, you come in, save the day, save the deal. You get a discount for that because they've bought a house.
Yeah.
They're contingent on another house.
Yep.
They're moving across country. They no longer want it. They're so exhausted with this transaction. They just want it to be done. They've been drugged through the mud with one buyer or two buyers or three buyers or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So now they're saying, okay, I want to trade convenience. I want to trade potential equity for speed and convenience.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's some of that, but also there's also building that relationship with those agents that you might not get that first deal.
Yeah.
But if your tone of voice, your positivity, your ability to communicate a lot with them and just be in their world, that's when you start building that momentum.
And I really fast want to say, do you remember that example?
I do. Yes.
There was a situation where there was a deal on the MLS. I just called it, said it was active in Chandler.
Yeah.
The agent was like, hey, we actually just took another offer. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, tell me about the other offer.
Yeah.
She's like, well, it's cash as is, quick close. I'm like, okay. Did you see their proof of funds and their past deals? Like, just want to make sure, because this one's a pre-foreclosure.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure the seller's best interest is in mind.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, I see there's a leaseback or there's a rental situation, the pre-foreclosure, what's going on? Mm-hmm. I was able to lead her down a path of being like, hey, just make sure you're protecting the client in this situation by doing this. But also, too, is escrow open first and foremost?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, she tried to buff out her chest. She's like, well, we were actually able to negotiate that we are using our title company. So they told me it's going to be about 3 days to get earnest money in. And I was like, if I have the capability of buying this right now, I will have earnest money deposited and wired to title within the next 20 minutes.
That's it.
And she's like, well, how? I'm like, call them back and say you have a courier set to go to their location and see what they say.
Yeah.
They're not going to buy it. I'm like,
Right.
and given that time is of the essence in this situation, I want to just make sure you're protected. At the end there, she did try throwing one little right hook to me, and she was just like, well, where have you been the last 7 days? And I'm like, well, I'm coaching agents like you and making sure that they're helping and doing what's best for the client.
Yeah.
But also, too, I'm not asking for this deal.
Yeah.
I want you to understand I want the next one.
Yep.
And sure enough, she actually texted me about it.
As you're talking, I'm thinking I need to pull a list of pre-foreclosures that are active on the market. You could do it on any of them. You could do it batch leads, you could do it on PropStream, and you could put in backup offers. Even if they're under contract, or you could just see, is there some of these that are lingering out there? Now, I wouldn't do it on beautiful houses. I wouldn't.
Right.
I would do it on properties that are dated.
More likely to fall through.
That'd be an interesting strategy for you as well. You know, pull that list of active pre-foreclosures. Active on the MLS pre-foreclosures, reach out to that agent and start slipping in some backup offers, or just start those conversations.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? See if they specialize in it. Some agents do a really good job of cold calling pre-foreclosures, getting the listings, and they can't, sometimes you need to save those deals.
Yep, you get it.
Everybody out there you go. Hope you're watching. Hope you are listening to that. That is a good list to test out for sure. Awesome.
Good stuff.
What else?
Well, I guess, once you get that contract and stuff, you kind of, starting out, it can get kind of scary. Like, what does the process look like after that? What should your strategy be? What should you do next?
I love it. First of all, this is where I think a lot of people slow down their business because it's exciting. Oh, I got this deal. Oh, it's going to make so much. I'm going to hold, you know what? I can't cold call. I can't text this morning because I got to set this up, and I got to talk to the title company, and I got to make sure that everything's clear, and I got to make sure that this is going to close, and I got to call my cash buyers and blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
So what you do is, Taylor, is you set up a relationship with a killer escrow officer. Killer title and escrow or closing attorney, right? That's going to do all of that other work. They're going to reach out to this seller. They're going to get all the paperwork. They're going to get all the loan payoff. They're going to get everybody organized to sign. They're going to do all that. So you need to be able to trust that they're going to do that job. But you keep an eye on them. You send them any updates. What's the update? Everything good? Everything going smooth? It's a quick email. Escrow officers and people working in the closing attorney's office love email.
Yes.
Let me tell you this again. They love it. They live by email.
Literally.
They're an organized person, and when you have email, it's a lot more organized than, say, a text or a phone call. Phone calls are like gone,
if
right?
they even answer.
It's like there's nothing tangible there. So email them, just check in on them, and then you got to get on your horse and start finding those buyers. You got to start calling up everybody that you have and start talking about this deal. You got to package the deal so that it's easily, they can easily see it and open it and look at the details and see if they want it, right? Sure.
And a follow-up to that.
Yeah.
Where do you find those buyers?
Well, a couple different things. We've got a cash buyer pack for everybody listening on TTP Insider, and it shows you how to get the 100 best cash buyers. One, you can attach your boat to a bigger boat, right? You can go into you could talk to a Keegley, you could talk to somebody that's got a big wholesaling operation in those areas. Simply just Google it, right? Just find those people and say, hey, listen, love to sell this deal. I want, I got it at 100. I want 110. Whatever you sell it for. Above that, you take. And then they'll go, well, no, we want 50% of the deal or whatever else. And then you call somebody else. Yeah. For real. I mean, unless it's somebody that you really want to network with, you really want to get into their world, you really want to build a great relationship with these people, then you can 50-50 it. That's not a problem in the beginning. But start with, add on top of my deal. Another way is just start calling up every single real estate agent that has a flip listed, pending, or sold in the last year in that area, in that zip code, in that community, in that town, in that wherever, in a radius of that. I saw you did a fantastic flip over here. Wanted to see if you wanted another off-market opportunity to look at. Absolutely. They always tell you yes. Right. And then what I really like doing, Taylor, is I like going to those Facebook groups, right? Yep. And I don't post to the groups. I DM the person that created that group. And I say, I've got a great deal, would love to share it with you, and see if they are dope or if they're an asshole. Because it really is 50-50. Yeah. It really is. Some of those people feel like they're sitting on a throne and they're like big boy, big girl, whatever, and they don't want to give you the time of day. And some of them are really savvy and smart. Yeah. So there's multiple groups for that reason. Yeah.
And when you go off of those Facebook groups, I've seen it a lot of times too. You'll have a bunch of people saying that they're interested in deals. When you see other people make those postings, but as we know, time is of the essence when we have that contract, and we don't want to, obviously, you should always be responsible and not put a seller in a bad situation. So time is of the essence to find a buyer. Yeah. Sometimes those buyers aren't maybe as serious as you might think when you find them in those Facebook groups. So should you be asking them?
Earnest money.
Should you?
Listen, Taylor.
What should you be asking them and doing?
Non-refundable earnest money deposited today.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the deal. Yep. That's it. Oh, yeah, no, I just, I got an appointment and then I'll run and then 3 days. I'll get it there, tomorrow and then you don't get it, right? Yep. So if you put this deal out and somebody wants it before noon, Taylor, they need to get their earnest money in before 5 that same day. Yep. Now, if you agree to it and it's like 4:30 or 3:30, if it's afternoon, then they have till noon the next day. Okay. And the real serious buyers will get their earnest money in. Right. They really will.
I mean, and also too, another step if you want to further qualify. I think we were talking about this a little bit at the office. Yeah. Let me see your last 5 deals, and can I see any proof of funds? So, I mean, I like the earnest money option the best. You're able to obviously solidify them into escrow, but just if you're trying to build that relationship too, make sure that they're not wholesaling out the deal, or at least if they are, they've got the earnest money in. His option's the best to start with.
Yep. There you go.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's crack this thing open.
Let's do it.
Any questions that you guys have? Let's start getting into them about any new wholesaler questions. Whatever's burning, whatever seems like a mystery as you're starting this business. I want to demystify it. Oh, okay. Ooh. We're starting on some celebration here. Thank you, Alejandro. You know how to hook me up. I close on $30K tomorrow. By the way, guys, I literally have cracked this bell from ringing it so much because we have an incredible community here that just wins and wins and wins and wins. So if you are not subscribed to this channel, it's a big mistake. All right, I'm going to be honest. No, listen, if you're getting value, subscribe to the channel. We've got a ton of incredible people like Real Estate B on here. $30K tomorrow. Here we go. I get it. We'll get a new bell. Alejandro's on it. Don't worry. All right. Here we go. Sasha, here we go. Guys, I need help. I got a list from one of my cash buyers of a bunch of off-market properties that need to be gutted, all vacant. How should I go about vetting this? What should I know? Thoughts? You got a list from one of your cash buyers of off-market properties that need. So are they just pulling a list for you? I assume that they're pulling like a vacant list. Hopefully these aren't properties that are already under contract that they're trying to dispo. That's usually kind of what that sounds like.
Right.
They might be a wholesaler themselves trying to sell these deals, or maybe they've got an inside track on like somebody that's selling a portfolio of properties. Let me explain something about people that own more than 3 properties. It's a waste of time. I'm telling you right now, Sasha, if there is an investor out there that wants to sell their package of deals, great. Pick one, give them 66% if it's over 250, 50% if it's between 100,000 and 250, the ARV, and if it's under 100,000, 25%. Offer them that verbally and see what they say. If they're nowhere even close, run away. It's a total waste of time. Because what happens is really savvy, old school. I want you to think of like an old, grizzled investor gal, right? And she's owned these properties for like 15, 20, 30 years. She knows what they're worth.
Mm-hmm.
What is the motivation? Well, she's just tired of having the properties. They're ready to cash out. That is not motivation. That's convenience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you. They should list that property, or it's just pie in the sky. They're looking for some sucker to take down all those deals. And I know to a man, 3 people that have gone bankrupt taking down those portfolios. 3. It's a trap.
Wow.
I'm telling you. I've got somebody and they own 16 properties. It's incredible. They want offers on all of them. And then you go and you do all the due diligence on 16 properties. And then you send over your offer and they're like, no, I want double that. Happens every single day. Avoid it. I'm telling you. Seriously, avoid it. We've done a deal with a guy that had really run-down properties. Alejandro locked this up. Alejandro used to do acquisition. And what was that guy's name? Huh?
Not saying.
You're not saying his name? Because you're locking up some more?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still got him?
Fred.
Okay. Fred had a bunch of properties, and he wanted to sell 3 of them. We got all 3 of them, but they're really run down, and he was really realistic on price, and that one worked. But for the most part, it's really rough sledding.
Dime a dozen.
Yeah. They just want too much.
Ooh, okay. From Paul, how can a new wholesaler close 1 deal a month texting? So I'm probably not the one to answer that because we are not doing texting anymore at this point. I saw a lot of like regulation stuff getting inputted, but I think you went through the numbers at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
What were they?
I mean, Paul, typically it just depends on your market and how focused you are. But, I mean, in some markets, it's 30,000 texts a month that you have to send out. Some it's 10,000. So it's kind of between that range.
Okay.
I mean, some people send out 200 and they get a deal, but then it's not.
That actually happened to us.
It's not predictable, though.
Yeah, no, and it's not sustainable.
You can't just go, I'm going to make a deal every 100 people I text. Everybody would be doing it.
Right.
Everybody is doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe like 4 years ago that worked.
Right.
You know, but not anymore. So, yeah, Paul, if you want to do it, just I would use batchleads.io for sure. That's what we use. It's the smoothest tool. It's really, really, really easy to use. And I would just go bananas. Just start sending it out and start testing it. But the way to do it 1 deal a month from texting is consistency. That's it.
Love that.
Just listen, you need to have a hard look at your schedule and find that 2 to 3 hours where you can focus on nothing but sending out texts and responding. And as soon as you get that lead, like Taylor was saying, you got to get them on the phone. You got to get them on the phone. You got to pre-qualify them. You got to see if they're real. All right? A new wholesaler, consistency, send it out, spend 2 to 3 hours every single day doing it, and that'll start building up some traction. But I wouldn't build your whole business on texting. Wu-Tang, 23,361.
All right. I'm thinking about getting my license, but are some of the disadvantages to having one? I think that what are some of them? So I think that what you got to understand is, like, you guys did a video earlier in the week that was phenomenal. It was talking about the whole NAR basically trying to crack down on people needing a license. I will tell you 1,000,000 times over, and I will get up on the pedestal and I will preach this to all of you.
Get on your soapbox.
What you guys have got to understand is go get licensed. There are so many benefits to being licensed, as we were just talking about with one of the deals Albert got today. Like, we are getting commission to buy these deals as the agent representing ourselves in the transaction. We are able to, theoretically, in most deals, triple our income because we're a wholesale deal, maybe $200,000 deal, $6,000 commission at 3%. If we're able to wholesale it out and make $10,000, you turned a $6,000 payday to $16,000 just because you have that tool on the tool belt. What's the other big concern that you come across like when you're talking direct to sellers besides the screw yous? They want the price to be unrealistically high, right?
Yep.
Guess what? Hello, I am now with the Zolin Group. I am a realtor and I would love to help you. I could probably get you this price. We can net this, this, and this by doing commission. I'll discount it to here and we'll net you here. I was just talking about this with Taylor throughout the week. When you give them options, people love options. You go to them and say, hey, guess what? My cash offer's here. Your house is worth here. If you put this much into it, you could probably sell it here. You put this much in, you sell it, you're gonna net this number anyway. You're here right now on the value it's in. With commission, you'll net here, but my offer's here. You have certainty as is on your terms with what close date you want at this offer, or you could go the route of listing this condition right now at this price, and you'll net a little bit more. Give them the ability to pick, but because you're licensed, you have the tool to be able to allow them to have that decision. So as for disadvantages, you're held to the standard of ethics. You can't go around other agents. You can't do some things that most wholesalers unfortunately do. And it is what it is. I would say that the reason as to why I'm actually on board with the NAR cracking down on this, we were talking about this on the phone the other day, you're going to be eliminating the shady business, the people that don't know what they're doing, that are just jumping into something and saying, yeah, we'll see what this happens.
Here's what I found. And I understand where you're coming from. Here's the disadvantage. The disadvantage is you have to pass a test.
I struggle.
For real. No, and listen, we are people that are entrepreneurs. Yeah. We are people that want to run and gun. We are people that have hustle in our bloodstream. We are ready to go. We don't want to be slow. Take a test. I don't want to take a test.
Well, in 90 hours. 90 hours.
Well, that's fine. I mean, you can knock out and sit in a classroom and just go through the stuff. But then you got to study and take a test while you've got 3 kids, while you've got a full-time job, while you're learning how to cold call and text message, and you're learning how to comp properties, and you got to learn how to do this. It's a lot. Yep. That's the toughest part. The toughest part is people hate taking tests.
Dude, I don't know
people
what it is.
People hate studying for a licensing. You know what I mean? And it feels very anti what we're about. It feels very anti about going out there and eating what you kill and making a difference in the community by going and helping out that homeowner that's had a vacant property for 15 years. That's the issue. Yep. That's the thing that's stopping people. And I get it. But I'm telling you, in the future, to be a real business, a real business, a real estate entrepreneur, it is worth the investment. It's worth the heartache. It's worth you taking that test 7 times to pass it or whatever it is.
Hey, that was spot on, man.
7 times?
7 times.
Yeah, right. Okay. So no, I know. Listen, I know people that have taken it a dozen times, 20 times.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that there's that. It's studying and taking a test, and then it's also it costs you money. It costs you probably $1,500 to go through it all and get your license hung and do all that stuff. And I remember getting my license when I was 22, and it was like, I don't have this money to be able to buy this stuff. What do I have to do here? You know what I mean? So it was just, yeah. Anyway, there you go.
I get it.
Yep. But it's gonna be really important. It's gonna give you a huge advantage. So I think we need to look at this more seriously, like a craft. We have to think of this as kind of like that's the apprenticeship that we go through, at least from get the licensing and get that stuff done and move forward. After you get it, all you have to do is do the continuing education.
That's the
or
best
have virtual
part.
assistants do it and move forward.
Literally.
Yep. Santiago, there are so many guru doers out there. How do you drown out the noise? You only listen to me.
Only Brent.
I'm serious. No, listen, Santiago, my advice, and I love this because I have had this a ton of times, and you guys can chime in here in your personal experience. But when I find somebody that I really resonate with, I go deep. I go real deep.
Right.
And I stay real focused for a long time. You know, in real estate, it started with Mike Ferry. I was part of that for 12 years. And then Earl Nightingale has been huge in my life. I go real deep into the things, the fundamental things that really matter. And I look for people that are living a lifestyle that I want to live.
Oof.
right?
Love that.
And it's really important, and it's kind of it's easier now that we have social media to see what people are up to. But I look for the people that are solid, the people that are. It's not so much look at me, look at me, look at me. It's them giving out. You know, it's more instruction based. It's more like I'm looking at that. And it's very selfish for me, but I'm looking at it like, what can they give me today? What little tidbits? What little things can I get? And that's how I look at it. So find somebody that you resonate with, Santiago. I don't care who it is, whatever you feel. If you feel somebody has the similar background to you and they're doing a great job, then maybe that's the connection. If it's somebody that you just when they talk, it makes sense, or you see the things that they do and it makes sense, stick with it and just go deep with it. And then if you get your heart broken, move on. What do you think?
No, you hit it right on the head. So for me, I mean, I have my Mike Ferry and everything too. Is Jeff Dorston. He's the guy that took me under his wing, taught me everything traditional real estate, commercial, business broker. We built a team together, business partners, to then Templeton Walker, to Steve Trang, to Jamil Damji.
Yeah.
I went deep on everything. I was like, okay, I love their business models. I love their lifestyle. I love what they're about. They're true go-givers. And more importantly, I wanted to replicate that. So that's what I'm trying to do now, is be that go-giver.
Yeah.
I'm like, I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
No, but when I obviously was one of the ones who recently took that deep dive and kind of got into Wholesaling Inc. And, you know, I really resonated with your voice too, Brent, and Lauren's. And it's just, you know, it's really important too when you see those coaches out there that are providing value, but also doing it for free, and they're you know, they're not necessarily always having a hook or something. It's just like when that's I think what draws you to certain people too. It's like you want to follow their content because it's free value. But if you can get that much value just for free, imagine what you can do.
But then you invested into Lauren's program.
That's what I'm saying. But then when you imagine, you can only go so far just from, you know, surface level things. You need to go, like, these situations get really complicated. You need to know, what do you do when you have that really tough tenant or that really sticky situation? You're not going to learn that in 5 minutes or an hour on YouTube. You're just not.
Right.
Albert.
I think you can go from, you know, like all the mentors and coaches, Ryan, that you mentioned that you had. You don't need to agree with every single thing that each mentor says. You're free to pick an apple from each of their tree and leave the ones that you don't necessarily agree with, because that's their business model. There's no one way to really do all this. So if you're learning from a multitude of people, pick the apples that you like and leave the ones on the tree that you don't necessarily agree with. And it's really totally fine, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure, like the theme of the show seems to be like you're attaching your boat to a bigger boat, right? But you want to make sure that if you're the fishing boat, you're not attaching yourself to the fishing boat with a little trolley motor on the back. You know what I mean? You want to attach your fishing boat to the giant yacht. You want to attach it to the big cargo ship to where it's so overwhelming and it's pulling you along so fast, you have no time to think. You have no time to have self-doubt that slows you down. You just act on it because you're going so fast. Now you're like survival mode. You're like, oh my God, I got to close this. I got to find a title company now. Like, this is closing in a week. I got to go. Versus all, just like you were doing earlier, it's thinking, oh, I got to find a title company. I got to make sure it's going to close on time. But if you attach it to move, you don't have time to think. You're just acting, right? And that's seriously the important between gurus and durus, right? Yeah. Who's doing the most? And you seriously cannot fake it forever.
Well, that's what, you know, was really interesting getting into this business. It was like Grant Cardone, and you watch it and you're like, that guy went on for like 3 hours, said nothing of value to me. It was all like hustle and do this and 10X and all that. And it's like, that's already in my DNA. Like, what are we talking about here? You know what I mean? And then I see Tom Kroll and Todd Toback, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. That was Wholesaling Inc. And then I joined the program to get close to them, and then I became a coach under that umbrella. I'm telling you, that's what you do, Santiago. Go deep. Find somebody that has a life that is incredible, that has the control over their life, has control over that crazy part of our brain that has all of our emotions into it, right? And that's what I really like. Yep. Awesome. Underdog 19 says, hey guys, I'm growing my buyers list but want to work with more institution hedge funds but need help looking for great hedge funds. I get contact but need help with them answering the phone. Thanks. Well, it's the agents.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to find
Right.
the agents that are representing them.
Yep, that's exactly what I was
You
just
got to
gonna
find
say.
the real estate agents that represent them in your area, Underdog 19. Don't reach out to the hedge funds themselves.
No.
They all have a buffer between you and them. They don't want to talk to you.
No.
They want to. They're money people. They're analytical. They're very. These guys are. They have to spend a lot of money, and so they pick a few people in each market to filter all the deals to get to them, so that they don't have to take it all on. So find the agent that represents them. So just look at that. Pull them up on PropStream. Pull them up on Batch Leads. And see people that have multiple properties under the same LLC, do some research on the LLC, and then find out, just reverse engineer it. Go on Zillow or go on any of the PropStream or Batch, and you can see who the buyer's agent was, and that's who you reach out to.
That easy.
There you go, brother. Or sister. I don't know who Underdog 19 is, but I love you. There you go.
Ooh. Okay, from IG, David Cornta. Cornta? Let's do it. What was your biggest challenge with your first deal, and how did you overcome that? For me personally, it was mindset. It was understanding the limiting beliefs. At 18, what I was so scared about, and the reason I joined a team, was that I was like, man, this is the biggest purchase and sale someone's ever going to make their entire life, and all I know is the Pythagorean theorem. Like, barely. Like, literally barely.
Do you know it?
No. Absolutely not. Are you kidding me now? Hell no.
Yeah.
But like,
in your head for like 2
but
minutes.
I'm like, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm gonna do, and I've got to do contracts legal. I've seen people go bankrupt and this, and now they also I have to get them to trust me. So I was just, it was a lot of mindset for me. It was having to get over that mental hurdle of like, okay, I can do this. That was first and foremost, understanding I can do this. I know if there's a guy that is 40 years older than me that sells one house a year, I could do one house a year.
Yep.
So I think I've talked to you about this before too, but like a lot of times when I was 18, I was like, man, if I can just get my first deal at like 28, I'm going to be a stud.
Yeah.
I had no idea that if I was going 10 years without a deal, I would have been long gone out of the industry, but it was all up here. So I had to train my brain.
You're going through it.
I am.
Buyers. That's your biggest challenge on your first deal.
Well, yeah, and I think I got my first contract last week, and I think the importance was of the follow-up. Like, this is somebody that initially said that, like, they had an offer price, they showed interest.
Yeah.
Tried to get them on the phone.
Yeah.
No luck.
Yeah.
Texted them. No luck.
Yeah.
Called them the next week. No luck. Texted them the next week. I just kept calling and texting and calling and texting. And did I feel annoying? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But did I care? No.
Yeah.
Good.
I kept following up. 2 months later, I don't know what happened. Maybe right time finally. Finally got him on the phone. Of 2 months of like where most people stop. Just kept calling him, and I got him on the phone, and that's how that happened. And I think right now the hardest part though too is definitely like limiting beliefs too. It's like, you get discouraged. Like, am I doing the right thing? Is this really for me? But it's also too, I've been talking with you with the whole MLS thing, because I don't work with agents and stuff. I'm like, well, they're experts at this. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, it's a limiting thing that like
They're not experts.
Yeah, and it's a limiting belief. It's like, you think that they're gonna think you're dumb or something, and it's just, and that's why when you have a coach and a mentor and you can plug into their knowledge, it all helps.
Yeah. The biggest challenge in my first deal was not understanding how powerful finding the deal is in this business. That was the biggest challenge that I had. I thought, because I was licensed, I brought it to a buyer, my investor. I wasn't the investor, so I was literally representing him. So I didn't know that I could go as the buyer. I mean, I had the funds to be able to close it, savings kinda, but I could have found somebody that was private money and connected and whatever else. But the power of finding the deal, I am telling you guys, I know the biggest fix and flippers in the market. They're averaging right now $28,000 per deal after flip net to them. It used to be 17 a couple years ago. The market's been very nice to all of us. They're averaging 28. We average 43.
Wow.
I don't swing a hammer. I don't see these properties.
Right.
I don't manage security on these properties. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that happen when you buy a property and you're going to fix this thing up, and the design side of it, and how do you make sure people don't break in and steal all the appliances, and do you move this wall or that wall, and do you need to get permits and all this other stuff? We average way more per deal than fix and flippers.
Wow.
Bananas.
Insane.
Bananas. I'm just telling you. Those are the big guys. They do a lot of they do a lot of deals, and they're a little bit tighter on their margins. And mom and pops usually do, in our market, more if they do 2, 3, 4 a year.
Right.
But we do 50 a year. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Great question. Hey, there you go.
Oh, hey, Andrew. I'll see you in some of our coaching calls coming up.
Will you read it?
Andrew said, started Lauren's program on Monday. What is Taylor's social so we can connect? Is
that your social security number?
I know. Well, Andrew, I don't know if I should give that to you. If you're talking about social media, you can find me at Taylor Bisacki TV.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Verified and everything.
I'm excited to see you, Andrew.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There you go, Andrew. Squat up. Amit. So if I get my real estate license, do I have to let them know that I am not the cash buyer and let them know that I am a wholesaler? Well, it just depends on if you are the cash buyer. If you have the ability, first of all, you should have the ability to close it if you're going to be the cash buyer. If not, then you got to tell them you're a wholesaler.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Right.
That doesn't matter if you have a real estate license or not, bro. You know what I mean? But go in, find somebody that's going to be your partner, your financial partner, to back you up. You're going to have ultimate confidence. Seriously, you're going to have ultimate confidence having that conversation because you have the option to close it. You have the ability to close it. It's so critical. Have that confidence, because if you're going out there, I see a lot of people getting little weak kind of measly deals because they're so nervous that they can't sell the deal and they go to the cash buyer. Like, have the ability to close it, have the confidence so you can get bigger deals. But I always go in as the cash buyer. I have every intention to buy every property. We put every property out there in the market. We sell most of them, and the ones that we don't, we take down and move on and clean them up and sell them.
All right, from IG, from Steven Talbert. Can I do deals in Sacramento, California? Short answer is yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I have students in that market absolutely crushing. Crushing.
Direct to seller?
Great price point, direct to seller.
Okay.
Great price point. Solid amount of cash buyers. It's phenomenal, Stephen. Go after it for sure. You could do deals anywhere. You could do deals in San Francisco. I have students that have done deals in San Francisco, Napa Valley, the whole thing, right?
Yep.
And they do 3 a year, and they make $500,000,
Literally,
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's insane over there.
You know, that's the difference. If you go into some of these higher price markets and you're consistent, you will do deals. The problem is working 4 months and doing one deal, right? But if that deal's worth $150,000,
I mean,
yeah.
That doesn't suck.
Yeah.
No.
Well, the problem is people do that deal at $150,000, and then they're like, "I'm going
on a trip.
I'm going to Tulum.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go, post to IG all these winnings.
Going
and
to
all
Bali
this,
for the 4th.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Dubai. Let's go, baby. Right?
Hey, Brent, let me ask you this then.
Yep.
So I remember when I first started learning about wholesaling and actually doing it. When do you know a lead is actually dead? Because that was one of the biggest things that I was curious when I was working with Ryan on my first wholesale deal. Oh, what?
Yeah.
But it was like I kept following up this guy. I'm just like, when do I know when to stop following up? When do I stop using my time to follow up on this guy when it's just ignored texts, ignored calls, voicemails?
Love it. Love it. If it is a trashed property, I will keep them in my follow-up forever. Until somebody buys that, yeah. Or until they are really just, they're not ever gonna do business with me. They're just like, we're just whatever. They're just at a point where it's just they don't want to hear from me ever again. Right. That's fine, because there's people that listen. They might have really good deals, but they're just assholes, and I don't want to deal with it. You don't have to. You know, you let that into your life, and then it creeps around, and you're always thinking about it, and you're worried about them canceling all the time, and they're always complaining, and they're always, you know, questioning, and they're always, you know, whatever. You don't need them in your life. It's not worth it. There's plenty of other deals. So if it's a trash property, I'm going to keep them in forever. If it's a property that's okay and they're not answering, I'm going to get rid of them. Because one of the biggest and tactically, I will try to follow up with them probably 90 days, you know, once a week for 90 days. Call, voicemail, text, and if they're not answering, and I know that the property's not really rough, and I don't have a lot of information on them, I'm moving on. I don't care. You know what I mean? The bad leads hide the good leads. And so if you're looking at your daily tasks and you've got 15 lead follow-ups to do, and you're going through 14 of them that are kind of so-so, you don't really have too much information on them, but that one's the last one, and then all of a sudden you get some sort of distraction or something's going on with your deal or the buyer's falling out or whatever else, and you can't get to that lead, and then you miss it, and then all of a sudden it slips through the cracks, and somebody else locks up that deal that day. Because time kills all deals, right? You got to be on it all the time. Yeah. I want my acquisition managers to have the lowest amount of quality leads possible, so that we can close a deal every single week. That's it.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah.
All right. On IG from Angel Brezzi. How is it possible my partner and I closed a $30K deal and we get recognition from it? You're in the right place.
Hey, congratulations.
We got the train bell.
All right, I've got this broken Liberty Bell. Congratulations, 30K deal. Keep it going and keep that money.
Love it.
Keep that money. Put
30.
It away.
Go buy a rollie. I'm just kidding. Don't.
Monet, what 3 books and podcasts you recommend besides your podcast and Bigger Pockets, besides Think and Grow Rich?
Love that.
Great. Go ahead.
So books-wise, Traction, that is a great one to model your business after. Profit First and Who Not How. Those 3 books changed my life, changed my business, changed my perspective on how I was looking at my business, and I realized I was doing a lot of things wrong. As for podcasts, I really like the Joe Rogan one. Albert kind of got me hooked on that one. Real Estate Disruptors with Steve Trang's always good. I feel like I'm missing one. It's going to bother me.
Gary V.
Yeah, Gary V's always good.
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah. Those are my books are more my forte.
Yeah.
But
I like Never Split the Difference.
Okay.
Awesome. Helps with negotiation.
Yeah.
And just learning how people and other people think.
Awesome. What else?
Well, you
they
know.
Want 3.
3.
You have to have read 3 books. Come on.
No.
Okay, well,
Taylor,
come on, guys.
Taylor,
Come on, you're putting me on the spot here. I need to, you know what?
Taylor's too busy.
Part of my New Year's resolution is to read more books. I do have a couple in the, what is it, the Amazon Audible?
Yeah.
I have a couple in the queue.
Okay.
So I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Yeah, Monet, I would, 12 and a Half is a phenomenal business book by Gary V. It just came out. Gary Vaynerchuk. Just 12 and a Half is what it's called. Phenomenal, easy read, maybe 200 pages, of which, 180 of them are really action-packed. I mean, I highlighted most of that book. And I like, when I go through it, Monet, I like highlighting the books, because then I can go back through, read through a whole book in like a half hour of all the highlights that really hit me, and all of a sudden it's like refreshing that whole book. The Go-Giver for sure is a must-read. Go-Giver. I really like the book called The Happiness Advantage. That one's really solid as well. A good mindset book. So those are the 3 books. Podcasts. I listen to Gary V. That's all I listen to. I really like his message about getting loud and what to do with social media. And I don't know if he's like a crazy person, to be honest. Like if you did business with him, you know what I mean? If it like his clients and whatever else, I don't know. But that's what I listen to. I listen to that, and that's it. Yep. And then Audible books. Great. Surround yourself with it. I mean, just go down the rabbit hole, really. Just find something and really connect with it, and then that'll connect you to something else, and connect you to something else, and connect you to something else. Awesome. And Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, you got to read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. Those 2 are phenomenal.
I don't think I've read Cash Flow Quadrant.
It's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah. There you go. It's like the what's a good sequel movie? What's like the top sequel movie? Anybody? No. Bad Boys 2? That was pretty good.
You didn't like Bad Boys for Life?
Yeah, it's the sequel to it.
Okay.
There you go. All right.
Are you asking Albert or?
Albert.
Yeah, Albert.
All right. One book I really liked, quick, easy read, The Purple Cow by Seth Godin.
Yep.
It's an awesome book that really teaches how to think out of the box and be a true marketer.
Okay.
This one I read, I believe the author's Mark Manson, something like that. It's The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Yep.
And that was a great thing for me mindset-wise because that really taught me to like stop caring about superficial things that I thought other people cared about and really think about, I don't care about what people think. Just focus on me, do it on my own. And there's one more book that I read that I can't quite remember the title of, but it taught me how to work hard. And that meant just working efficiently.
Okay.
Because the book starts out by saying, it's introducing like, how is someone who's working less hours than me still getting recognized more, still making more money, yet I put in all these hours and I'm not seeing success.
Got it.
And it talked about how you work smarter and how you line up your passion and purpose to be able to really get a fulfilling thing out of your job.
Love it.
Podcast-wise, Jim Quick, the Quick Mindset, he is phenomenal. He teaches you how to like tune into your brain and do these little brain tricks.
Okay.
And it's the craziest things that I've ever looked or listened to because he really teaches you how to make your brain more efficient. And in this world of data going left and right, how do you retain it? How do you remember it? And how do you use your brain efficiently?
Yep.
I listened to Real AF by Andy Frisella. I love that guy. He's super good mindset when he had the MFCO podcast. That's what first got me into business and really kind of figuring out what's the mindset like. How do you really act as a businessman? And of course, it's more current events now, but it's important to know what's going on in the world around us.
Cool.
Last podcast that I will go through is Ed Milet's. The Ed Milet Show.
Cool.
He interviews great people. I suggest to people, the last one he just interviewed was Mike Rowe on Dirty Jobs. Mike Rowe's a phenomenal guy. If you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend it. His whole philosophy is learning how to work hard and talking about these entrepreneurs that are in these not so sexy looking jobs, but yet they're multimillionaires, cleaning out sewers.
Love it.
Good stuff.
There you go.
Good stuff.
Jason, good to see you, bud. How long is your typical close date for an on-market deal? 30 days or less?
Yeah, so that's a fantastic question. A lot of times we actually give that option to the seller. We need a minimum of like around 10 to 14 days. Obviously, title needs to be free and clear. But more often than not, you'd be surprised, on-market deals, they typically want around like 21 days. So, yes, cool. 30 days or less. From Brett Miller. I've heard some gurus advise to be prepared to actually close on the property, even if you can't find a cash buyer. What is your take on this? Yes, absolutely. I would say 100%. You need the backing. I mean, to go in and say that you are a cash buyer rather than a wholesaler, the amount of value to that, especially like in my case, working with on-market deals, if I were to go to realtors and say, hey, I'm not the buyer, but I'm going to buy this property, they're like, why are you talking to me right now? They're like, are you an agent then, representing somebody? Because that's all they know. Obviously, going direct to seller too. I mean, some people have a lot more success going and saying, hey, I'm going to market the property, I'm going to find a buyer, I'm going to give you this much, and I'm going to make this much. I always say to have the backing is definitely going to be more valuable.
Yeah, Brett, do you have a deal? You know what I mean? Like, this is where you need backup, Brett. You know what I mean? Make sure you have a deal. If it's not a deal, what are you going to do? Take it down and take a bath on it and lose all your money? No. So make sure that you have a deal. That's the first thing. If you can't find a cash buyer in this real estate market, it's not a deal. You locked it up too high. Renegotiate the price or cancel it.
Absolutely.
Listen, this happens with traditional buyers. Literally. This happens every single day. This happens with appraisals. This happens with inspection periods. This happens all the time. If you looked at the amount of deals that get canceled during an inspection period, it's probably 1 out of 10.
I think
maybe
it's
1 out of
more.
8.
It's getting more now.
You know what I mean? Just make sure that your numbers are solid. Make sure that you talk to somebody, even if it's a cash buyer off the bat, and be like, I've got this deal. What price would you buy it at?
Yes.
Partner up with them. Squat up with them. If you can't find it, then you got to cancel it. But don't outbid somebody and then try to get just to lock up the deal and then get it reduced later. There's people that literally coach that, and it's bananas. It's so crazy. Luis, realistically, how much money does someone need to invest in lead generation? It just depends on how many deals you want to do, brother. You know, I've spent $80,000 in a month. I've also spent $8 in a month. You know what I mean? So in the beginning, I would say you could do a lot of damage under $500 a month. For real.
What systems would you get?
I would get the batch dialer.
Okay.
I would get either batch leads if you're in a non-disclosure state or prop stream.
Okay.
To pull lists into comp and to look at all the details. And then I would skip trace them. Skip trace is your biggest cost.
Seems easy enough.
So you need, probably 1,000 addresses, and that'll cost you anywhere from $120 to $140. The dialer is $140, and either one of those are $100, so you're at $400 around there. And then the other one I would do is Deal Machine for driving for dollars.
49.
Yep, and that's
Right.
with the it's 60, but it's 50 with the TTP code.
There you go.
So
And you got $50 for lunch.
yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Taylor, when do you fly out?
I fly out at I gotta leave here at 11:25.
Okay, good.
About 20 minutes.
You're going home.
I'm going home and then going straight to work.
Really?
Yeah.
You're on tonight?
Yep.
What are you doing tonight?
I don't know. I haven't. It's kind of we have a whole meeting where we discuss what stories we're gonna cover that night.
Yeah.
So I don't really know till day is.
So are you in studio? Or are you out in the streets? What are you doing?
I'm out in the field. I'm on the scene.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're standing there with your camera guy and you're going.
Okay.
With crap going on behind me.
Can we do the thing again?
What's the thing?
Do the voice. Do the voice.
Oh, the voice.
Do the voice. Do the voice. Do the voice.
I would love to hear the voice.
Am I a monkey? I'm just kidding.
Got it.
Dude,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
God.
Guys.
Okay,
I'm
so
just
Sydney
kidding.
asked,
Unbelievable.
new to wholesaling,
Unbelievable.
pulled
Okay, before she leaves.
pre-foreclosure list for batch lead skip trace. How do we go about numbers, people we known, DNC, and known litigators? I don't want to break laws or get sued. Yeah, get rid of them, Sydney.
There you go.
Pull them out. Pull them out. And if you really get really scared about it and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want any kind of this heat, which, by the way, I don't know anybody that has really gotten destroyed by a litigator or somebody on the DNC, but I remove them anyway, and I suggest that you remove them anyway just because it's a headache and you don't want to deal with it. Call agents. It's a commercial number. Agents number, commercial numbers. It's like calling a business. What are you gonna do? They're gonna get mad at you for calling a business. You could call agents if you're really just like, you know what, I don't want to play in that pool. You know what I mean? We'll jump in the pool next to it. It's called real estate agents. Call them up. Start building building those relationships. But yeah, you definitely that litigator scrub. Get rid of all those, and we don't call DNCs. So, a lot of people do. We don't. Thomas Coates Jr. Whoop, whoop. Shout out to TTP. Our team is going on our first appointment in King City, California. Let's go, Thomas. Let's go. Lock up that deal, baby. Lock up that deal. That's incredible. Congratulations. Send me a DM after that appointment. Let me know how it goes. All right?
All right. Vasily.
Yep.
Okay, you guys are awesome. Ryan, what type of motivations are the best for you? That's a great question. So we've had a lot of success in probate. And then, honestly, this one I've just kind of really looked at more recently. It's contingencies. When people are selling their home, they're going into another situation where they're moving. Obviously, it's to either another home with a family. We had one the other day. They're like, oh, I'm building a cabin up north. And it's like, they're so excited. My client only needs X amount of dollars from the funds of this to be able to put in this. And I'm like, oh, you only need X. Yeah, you're not getting this. Here we are. So I like to look at probate primarily, and then second would be contingencies at the moment. So
I think he's asking just mentally motivations.
Oh, I was
What
talking
motivates
deal. Dude,
you?
see, I'm sorry. I'm in deal mode today. I'm sorry.
Deals motivate him.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. I guess the answer is deals. No.
Yeah.
That's where my brain's at. What types of motivations are best for you aside from deals? Honestly, it's giving back at the moment. It's just being able to pour into the community. Obviously, I mean, if you get some just time value, pour into the people that whatever they can. So we have a 30-minute coaching session. There's a 1-hour coaching session. There's a $100 Amazon gift card. And then the lovely sponsors of Batch Skips Racing was able to give 1 year free of Batch leads.
What?
Yeah, 1 year free. And we're doing it again next meetup.
It's like $2,000.
That's gonna save you a lot of money.
It is. I mean, it's not just incentive to go to the meetup, but I mean,
Wow.
So we've got the winners. Nakia Brazil,
All right.
30-minute coaching.
Yes.
We have just Artie.
Artie.
Artie got the hour coaching.
Great job, Artie.
Michael Flake got the $100 Amazon gift card.
All right, Michael.
And then it looks like that's probably Emily.
Emil
Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
You are the winner of 1 free year of Batch leads.
Wow.
That's
Emil.
awesome.
Yep. It also
Well
comes with
done.
120,000 free property records.
There you
Wow.
go.
There you
Get
guys
after
go.
it.
You guys, I'll reach out to you afterwards. We're gonna have Batch and everything.
There's extra benefits, not only to networking with the top people in the state,
And
but
the food.
The food.
The food, man.
when's the next one?
February 1st, Albert's
Okay.
birthday.
Yep. What do you guys do it on a regular schedule?
Yeah, it's always the first Tuesday of every month. So
Beautiful.
We had over 25 people fly in for this meetup. So
You went?
Yep.
How was it?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Awesome. Incredible turnout. I don't work in this market, but I already was meeting people that wanted to help me or had connections in the state that I'm virtual wholesaling in. So
Right.
the power of networking is incredible, everyone.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Awesome.
I think it's awesome too. Going back to Vasily's quick question, motivating. It's really cool because we supported a small business too. It's not like we rented out, a hotel room or anything. Like this was a small business that he's got a couple locations open in Arizona, and we were able to pack the house. Give him good business, and that's like super motivating because we couldn't have done that if Ryan didn't build the community that he did. We didn't attract the people that. We did to come and network. So, it's great to be able to help other businesses succeed in their own niche.
Right.
Too.
You don't get what you want, you get what you attract.
Absolutely. Your
Love
vibe
it.
attracts your tribe.
Killer escrow agent, 2 words. They communicate and speed. That's it. Communicate and speed. Well, I'll say 3 words. And experience.
Yes.
They have to
There
be
you go.
experienced knowing
There
the
you go.
business and working with investors, working with wholesalers. They're quick to communicate. They're fast at getting the things done that need to be done so that the deal can be closed, and they know what they're doing.
That makes the biggest difference.
If you go to a new escrow agent, right, in the years that you've done this, what's a huge red flag that sets you off immediately that says this person's not going to be able to
What is
do the
wholesaling?
deal?
How many wholesale deals have you done? What?
Yeah. What is wholesaling?
What?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, always get always get a referral to somebody. For real, guys, I'm telling you, get a referral. The best escrow. See, what happens is one escrow agent, when they get really, really popular and really good at their job, they get a bunch of people that work under them to do a lot of the other stuff as well. So they're like a little team. So they just build out their team based on their capacity. So you find somebody that's really, really good that can do the deal and knows the tricky situations and knows how to bring in these sellers or go to them to get all of the closing paperwork done, then that's the person you want. That's who you want to work with. Yep. How do you deal with dispo when you're virtual? All right. Nate Stallone asks.
That's a good question. So obviously, again, I'm going to go back to attaching to a bigger boat. I would say what Brent said at the beginning of the show was a great strategy. Googling, just saying wholesale companies, whatever your market is. Then they're going to obviously pop up. A lot of times they're going to ask you to get on their buyers list. They're going to say, fill out the information on the site, the form, whatever. I would reach out to them. Yeah. Obviously, if they're taking buyer lists and they're taking input for whatever the data is for that, you're able to reach out to that company and say, hey, I've got some deals. Would you be able to help me move them? They're not going to say no. Aside from that, I also like to do Facebook groups.
I was going to say, I'm right now working with a JV partner and squatting up, which is, we always talk about that.
Yeah.
And finding someone who's boots on the ground who can also help you with that and has their own buyers list. It definitely, when you're first starting out, it can take away some of the extra stress as well.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, squat up, Nate. I mean, that's it. find somebody in that market, join the groups, join a coaching program, join something that has that community that you can reach out, and they have kind of like, the tentacles everywhere, and you can trust them, and they've done a good job. That's I always look at if I'm reaching out to anything, whether it be coaching or real estate, I look at the masterminds that I'm in, because these guys pay a lot of money for these masterminds, and it's just, they're legit.
Absolutely.
You know that if they're in a coaching program and they're trained, they've made some money, at least enough to get in, and they're doing things. So it's just kind of pushing it up, as opposed to a Facebook group that maybe has 20, 30,000 people into it. You post to it, only 20 people see it, because Facebook has a weird organic reach thing going on for the last few years. And so you're never really sure. It's kind of a mixed bag on who you get.
Yeah.
So to really find somebody great, get a good referral, or connect with a group that's really doing it. It's really closing. And listen, if you reach out to somebody and they feel weird, they don't have energy, they don't have enthusiasm, they're just kind of like big dogging you or whatever else.
Yeah.
Find somebody else.
Right. There's more buyers.
That was one of my biggest mistakes early on, was like I was stuck in this group of like 4 or 5 buyers and people that like were doing this business, but they were assholes. Seriously, in our market. And I was like, this is weird. Like, is this what this is? And then you start branching off, and you start finding some incredible people, and the Pace and the Steve Trangs and the Jamils and the the Josiahs, and some really incredible people, and then everybody's business grows. So
love it.
Yep.
Stallone. All right, from Richard is a Genius. How do I find a deal with no money? Real estate agents. I like to do this. This is where I like to reach out to the agents, because, again, this is a free marketing budget. And the people are always like, oh, well, I'll have to pay for that list or whatever. You could go to Zillow. You could go to Realtor.com. What's the other one? Redfin? Yeah, I mean, you can go to all these websites. There's agents that are not just going to have their information on the site. There's agents that are paying for freaking leads. So you go and you type in your city, and it'll say, like, here's a 5-star rating for this realtor. They've got 1,700 reviews, and you're like, oh, I'm going to reach out to this girl. And you reach out to them, and guess what? Because they're already paying for these leads, the minute one comes in for free, they're even more excited. So then you start telling them, build rapport, go and be like, hey, I'm looking for deals. I'm looking for someone that's going to help me find these. I think you're my person.
Love it. Go knock on an ugly house. Knock on the door of an ugly house.
That too.
Go, and if they're not there, knock on the neighbors, the 2 neighbors on either side and 3 across the street, and ask them what's going on with that property and how you can get a hold of that property owner.
We still got to do
You can drive around with a pad. This is what I did. This is how I did my first 20 deals. There's a video that Alejandra and I filmed from 3 years ago of us driving for dollars, writing down addresses on a pad. You can literally go to True People Search.
Yep.
It's not very accurate, but you listen.
It's a shot in the dark.
Broken clocks right twice a day type of thing, right? So, you try to call them from there. Just pick up the phone and start calling, start hand dialing, and then find an opportunity and build it from there. It'll take you longer, but if you have no money, you got to trade effort.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you don't have money, you got to trade effort. And then even when you do have money, I want you to trade effort. I want you to grind in this business for the first year, 2, 3. Like, really build it something special. Really take that money home. Don't get to that mental block, that $75,000 limit that you hit that, and then all of a sudden you get wacky. You get real wacky. You start hiring people. You start spending money on stuff that you shouldn't. Start going into a $20,000 mastermind. Like, it's bananas. Keep the money. Keep the money. Grow this thing. Like, be nasty for a few years. Like, not nasty like whatever, but like motivated, like go and like hustle, like really put it in. It's a season. There is a season of hustle. It's not a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? But really put it in. And keep that money. Yeah, keep that nasty money.
Nasty.
I got to follow up to that.
Yeah.
So, when is the time that you should maybe, hire a VA or hire someone else? Because, some people get started and they do that initially, but obviously you want to, work your way until you're ready.
30 grand, 3 straight months.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
That's it. 30 grand, 3 straight months, and then I give you permission to hire somebody. No, I mean people hire people way too early because we fall in love with the work on your business, not in your business type thing, and those people always fail. Always. You didn't deserve it. You don't have the skills yet. You don't have the experience yet. You don't have the bank account yet to have the financial responsibility of somebody else in your hands. Plus, you should be taking the money home. You should be replacing your income. You should be building up a nice savings account. You should be putting stuff aside. You should be paying your taxes. I'm telling you.
No, 100%.
I mean,
100%.
as entrepreneurs, we're wild.
We are.
But if you just keep it clean and nasty for a little while.
Clean and nasty.
Yeah.
Clean and nasty.
It doesn't have, not I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, you know the energy behind it.
Yes.
Like, just go to bed exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
It's the best pillow. Go to bed exhausted, knowing that you talked to more people than you ever had, that you've built connections that you never had, that you've comped properties and you're understanding this business, that you learned something new. You're putting great stuff in with books and podcasts and YouTube, and you really won that day. That one day. This is the only day that we can win right now. I think people spend way too much time living in the past, way too much time in the future. They don't pay attention to what they can do, their efforts can do today, and that's what takes so long to be successful in this business. If you focus on talking to 30 to 50 new people a day, even if you talk to 8 people a day, we showed if you talk to 8 people a day, you can make $120,000 in this business in a year by just talking to 8 people, new people a day. 8. Wow. Now, you can blow that out of the water if you go with these 50 conversations a day. This is why this guy is a millionaire before 30. You know what I mean? But if you just push it and stay focused and work on yourself and not work on your business, work on yourself, your confidence, your mind, your squad, your people, you are going to win way longer. This is a 50, 60, 70-year business. This is not a 5, 6, 7-month business. You can do this forever and build a fortune, but you can't do it if you're like, all of a sudden working on your business and you're, 3 months into this thing. It's ridiculous. No, absolutely. We're not that type of business. Anyway, that's my rant for the day, but it's true. I've seen it every time.
For sure.
Yep. I followed your goal plan for 2021. It's Woo! What are we talking about here? Alejandro, thank you. You slipped that in. That's what I'm talking about. Followed your goal. 2021 did 38 deals.
Boom.
That's awesome.
We are not talking just theory here. This is real life. This is facts. This is science, baby.
Here's the train.
Woo! How about that, Matt?
I'll wait for that thing to fall apart.
I know. I'm trying to. I want it wrecked. We're gonna shadow box this thing once we get the new one. Put it up in the studio. But yeah, congratulations. That's phenomenal. Eddie, what can you do with the property in Phoenix that are owned by Phoenix City? These live shows keep me going and hungry. Thank you, Eddie. Let me explain something about property that's owned by the government, okay? If they need to sell it because of whatever, they will. But they're not going to sell it to us.
Right.
They have to go through a lot of procedure, and it has to get approved by a lot of people, and then they select an agent, and typically that agent doesn't get paid much because they just sell the properties for them and they put them on the market.
Right.
You can try, listen, and I'm literally specifically talking about Phoenix. And Maricopa County in general. But if you're in other places, maybe they'll sell it to independent investors. You can talk to maybe the neighborhood services department or call the city of Phoenix. But usually they earmark it for something.
Yeah.
Or they hold on to it for some strategy, or there's no strategy, or there's nobody that runs that's driving the boat. So it's really, really, really hard because, listen, first of all property is owned by the government. Just understand that. We pay property taxes for the right to put up walls and say, this is my house. This is my apartment complex. This is my commercial building. But the fact is that land is all America. Yep. It's technically the state, right? So the state that you're in, and you pay property taxes, unless you're in unincorporated area, which doesn't have utilities, which is a whole mess and the whole thing, right? Usually not really a livable space, but all property is owned by the states. We just pay rent for them. And guess what happens if you don't pay that rent? You get evicted. I mean, that's what I own this property. I own a ton of properties free. Well, I don't own a ton of properties, but I own my properties free and clear. The government still owns them.
Right.
They still own them. I still got to pay property taxes. So they don't care. That's the point. There you go, Eddie. They'll list it with an agent. Move on. Good question. I tried it, by the way. Tried it several times. Arthur.
What is your guys' big why behind wholesaling? What is the end goal? That's a beautiful question, man.
Okay. Yep.
All right, I got to go first, otherwise I won't be able to follow it up. For me, honestly, it is family, it is impact, it is community. For the longest time, I'm not going to lie to you, it was money. I got into this and I was like, man, I'm going to go make $1 million. I'm going to get that screw you money and I'm going to peace out. You will find me on an island.
Still about money.
Well, of course, to an extent.
Yeah.
To an extent. Money is a tool and it's a resource for me to be able to provide what my goals are.
Sure.
So for family, it's being able to take care of my mother, take care of just basically providing for her the way that she did for me when I was growing up. And I want to make sure that I'm obviously making an impact on those around me.
It's got to go.
It's time to go. It's
well,
big,
let Taylor go before your big reason.
Taylor.
Yeah.
My big reason is family and time freedom.
Awesome.
Yes.
The last couple years, with my job, I work holidays. I don't see my family. They live all the way on the East Coast. So just getting my time back, and I think this last year has made a lot of people put into perspective what their priorities are and what's important to them in life. That's my family.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Thank
thanks
you
for being
guys
on
so
here.
much.
Yeah.
These guys are the best. Thank you for everything,
You got
Ryan.
it. You got it.
Thank you.
If people want to watch you on the news, what channel do they turn to, or what show?
If you're in San Francisco, you can watch Cron 4. But if you're not in San Francisco, you can stream 24/7.
Yep.
Give the exit.
Hold on.
You can stream 24/7 live on Cron On. No,
Cron On.
Cron On is an app, but for now, live in Brent's studio.
That's
Taylor
right.
Saki reporting. See you guys.
Hey.
Bye, Taylor. Bye.
Wonderful. That was
Appreciate
delightful. You. All right, Arthur.
So great.
Albert.
Yeah.
Albert, what is your end goal? What is what's the big why?
The big why. My parents gave a lot for me and my brothers grew up in this country, right?
Yep.
So I want to give a life to my future kids one day that my parents did for me. I want them to live a better life. I want them to always have a parent around that can always just be there, like be at every school event, right?
Yep.
I want to be there for my future family. I want to be able to take care of my parents. And really, I want to be able to give great experiences to people out there. This is why I was talking with Ryan about this, but this is why I want to do real estate. I love providing a great experience. I love to host people, and I think about Airbnbs and vacation rentals, whatever. I love the feeling that a new family is going to make new memories in the home that I was able to remodel.
Yeah.
I love the feeling that someone's going to book my Airbnb and have great, long-lasting memories for years to come.
Yeah.
And the money does come with that because I'm solving big problems. I'm going to be rewarded for it. And, I'm a car guy. I love car guys. And you know what? For a lot of people, I struggle. Like, is it okay to want to do all this, to want money to buy, like, shiny stuff? And,
right.
I think back to, like, the little kids with, like, the Lamborghini posters, right? All the cool stuff. And that's totally okay because that's someone's motivating factor to do it.
Sure.
But your reason behind it has to be good, right? You're not going to spend it just to spend it.
Yep.
We're here to make the world a better place, better than we found it.
Yep, love it. Well, and that's it. I mean, that is the big. It's it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful because the more we provide value, the more service that we can give to each other.
Yep.
The more money you make.
Yes.
The more money you make, the more control you have over the time that you have left on the planet.
I love that.
Right? So not only do we feel incredible when we help people and support. And listen, this isn't just from a coaching standpoint. This is the property owners. This is the cash buyers. This is the title and escrow people. The 50 people on average that get paid, literally get income to take home to their families because of every transaction that we do. That's why we get paid so much. But we're put on this earth to provide value to each other. That's what we're put on this earth to do. And if it's just you staying at home, just being by yourself, it really restricts your ability to provide value. And what I have found every single time, and successful people are the biggest examples of this, is the joy that you get. The joy that you receive, the real joy, not happiness, that real joy, that real fulfillment comes from helping other people.
Absolutely.
Comes from being of service.
Absolutely.
Comes from constantly going out there and trying to make this a better world, a better place, a better whatever. And with that, the reward you get is bananas. You get a ton of income, and then you get to be able to control what you want to do in this world. And I just keep going back, and I'm like, I get itchy if I'm on vacation too long. I get itchy during Christmas break. I get itchy. I want to get out. I want to do something. I want to, provide some sort of value. And I'm not standing on my high horse by any means. There was a long time where I was very self-centered, very selfish. I think my whole 20s was really plagued with that. It truly was. I didn't realize that, it wasn't just the more that I could go out there and provide value, the better I would feel. Right. Seriously. That's why I don't grow like these huge businesses. That's why it's just not part of me to do that. I want to be in the nitty gritty with it because it makes me feel good. It's selfish. It's very selfish. But it's a wonderful life. So it just depends on what you want to do and how you get that joy, that true fulfillment.
Well, and I love what you said too. It's about the control. Control of your life, control of who you spend your time with, where you're at.
I don't want to control other people.
No, but
I want to control my 24 hours that I have here.
Absolutely. That's all you can control. And then from there, it's controlling your freedom.
And listen, as an entrepreneur, I know even as a little kid, I hated when people would tell me where to go, what to do, how to do it, all these things, unless I was interested in it.
Right.
I wouldn't play a sport or participate in something if I didn't want to. Right. I wouldn't be told what to do. I've never had a job in my life. I've literally never had a job in my life because of that. Seriously. And I think a lot of people are out there like that. A lot of people are like, what? No, I don't want to do that. I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't want to get a real estate license, because it's like, what? You're telling me what to do? No. Seriously, it is. But if this business is really important to you and you really want to grow this thing, you got to do those things. Yep. Sometimes you just gotta you got to go to practice and go to 2-a-days and do these things as a sports reference or whatever. You know what I mean? You have to put in the things that you don't want to do so that you can get the reward that you want. But it only works if you truly want to do it. If this is something that you must have. You know what I mean? It's not even a want; it's a must.
There you go.
It truly is. I talked about that yesterday. So I think that's it, huh?
Yeah.
We are there. Guys, we love you. Make sure that you join us next week. Are we going to have?
I believe so, yeah. We should have Ricky Gutierrez talking
million YouTube followers. Yep. He's got a great YouTube channel about real estate, about investing, stocks.
He does
luxury cars.
And then he also just flipped a plane.
Yep.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. So make sure that you guys join us next week. We love you guys, and we are out of here.
Keep it clean, keep it nasty.
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, have me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no